The episode begins in the ruins of the entertainment district, where Thandro is found unconscious while shielding Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Nezuko. Kagaya Bayashiki, the leader of the Hashiras, is told that an upper rank is defeated. He gets overly excited as for the past 100 years, Demon Slayer Corps have not been able to kill an upper rank, but finally they see a change. Kagaya sees it as a good omen and hopes that this news will cause displeasure to the sole blemish on his family, Muzan Kibutsuji. He is determined that they can defeat him during this generation. The scene shifts to the Infinity Castle where the upper rank 3, Akaza, is summoned. Sudden summoning could only mean one thing: an upper rank was killed by the Demon Slayer Corps. During the whole scene with Infinity Castle, the animators flex how good they are. Truly, a cinematic masterpiece. From a pot comes out the upper rank 5, Jocko, who pretends to feel nice for meeting Akaza after 90 years. From the stairs emerges the upper rank 4, Hantagu, who corrects Jocko that it's been 113 years since they were last summoned. Hantagu shows his distress over the number 113 as it is an odd number and a prime number. Akaza asks the Biwa women, who summon everyone in the Infinity Castle as per Muzan's order, whether Muzan has arrived or not. She tells him that Lord Muzan has not arrived yet, however, upper rank 1 is here. In fact, he was the first one summoned. Akaza is interrupted by Doma, the upper rank 2. Doma has a reckless and childish personality, who likes to mess up with others. The scene shifts to the upper rank 1, Kokushibo. For now, we could only see his maroon hair and sword from the back. Muzan is finally here, who tells them that upper rank 6, Jutaro, has been killed. Doma apologizes to Muzan as he was the one who brought Jutaro. Muzan shares that Jutaro's weakness, Daki, his sister, cost him his life. However, it does not matter anymore. Muzan expresses his anger for the upper ranks and calls them useless for not taking care of Kagaya and Blue Lily yet. Hantagu, who has a cowardly personality, shivers from his fear of Muzan. Jocko shares that he has information that would please his Lord Muzan. In an instant, Jocko's head was in Muzan's palm, who tells him to never bring him any unconfirmed news. Muzan tells the upper ranks that he won't be lenient with them anymore and commands Jocko to head over the place with Hantagu once he confirms the information. With that, Muzan leaves. Doma asks Jocko for his information, telling him that he wants to tag along. Akaza gets annoyed and slashes half of Doma's head. In an instant, Akaza's hand was sliced off as well by the six-eyed upper rank 1, Kokushibo, who tells Akaza to respect the hierarchy and mind his actions toward his seniors. He suggests Akaza to officially challenge Doma or Kokushibo for promotion. Doma mocks Akaza by saying that he has every right to be upset, given how Doma became a devil after Akaza, yet was promoted over him. Akaza tells Kokushibo that he will kill him and take his rank. Kokushibo is transported back, followed by Akaza. Jocko and Hantagu were sent off to confirm the information. Lastly, Doma is sent back to his place too, where his disciples are waiting for him. A maroon-haired guy with the same earrings as Thandro is seen sitting in a house holding a baby. The host, who looks exactly like Thandro, maybe someone from his ancestors, apologizes to this guest for making him babysit as his wife is sleeping. The host is Sumiyoshi, who thanks his guest for saving his life before and offers to pass down his surname for his own family, as the maroon-haired guy does not have any hair. Let me remind you that this maroon-haired guy is the same person whom even Muzan is afraid of and has a similar mark on his forehead like Thandro. He tells Sumiyoshi that he failed to protect anything that was dear to him, so passing on his name is worthless. Meanwhile, the dream ends as Thandro wakes up with tears in his eyes because of witnessing the sadness of that guest. Kanao notices that Thandro has finally woken up and tells him that he has been in coma for the past 2 months since his fight with Jutaro and Daki. A man named Godo introduces himself and shares his story. He is a member of Demon Slayer Corps cleanup crew, a Kakushi. When Thandro was first brought to the Hashira meeting, a man said to him that, "Are you gonna sleep all day? Wake the hell up." The man who said that was Godo. He's also the one who found Thandro and others unconscious in the entertainment district 2 months ago. Being younger than him, yet fighting with their lives online, Godo respects Thandro and his friends, excluding Inosuke as he finds him weird. He is walking down the hallway with a tray of premium Castella in his hand, and he is trying too hard not to gobble it up. This Castella is a gift of Thandro. Thandro is known for having a great sense of smell, so with Castella by his side, he might wake up from coma. He enters the room to find a broken vase and gets a bit angry on Kanao. However, he cannot express his anger as she is his senior, not in age but in rank. He cleans up the vase and gets near Thandro's bed, only to find him out of coma already. He lashes out at Kanao and tells her to make a noise as it is a big deal. He calls everyone and announces that Thandro has woken up. Aoi and the triplets rush over immediately. They tell Thandro that Zenitsu woke up the next day they brought them in, and is already out on a mission, against his will of course. The Sound Hashira walk out of the entertainment district with the help of his wives, which was very surprising to Godo, given how injured he was. Awa shares that Inosuke was on the verge of death. Because of all the poison spread in his body, he was in terrible condition. Tanjiro gets sad, telling them that in that case, he must be hallucinating Inosuke stuck on the ceiling above him. They all look up and Inosuke really is stuck on the ceiling, typical Inosuke stuff. Inosuke thanks Tanjiro for noticing him. He jumps on Tanjiro's bed and tells him that he woke up 7 days before him, so he is stronger than Tanjiro. Kyo shows Tanjiro a picture of Honey Badger, who is poison-proof, so it eats up poisonous snakes, and shares that Lady Shinobu said that Inosuke is just like this honey badger. Kyo, 1 Inosuke, 0. Inosuke interprets this mockery as a compliment, saying that he is immortal. Goto tells him that he is not immortal, but an idiot. Inosuke gets angry, and he tries to fight with Goto, while Elwa tries to stop him. Kanao is getting bothered by the noise, and the kawaii silent girl shouts at them to be quiet as Tanjiro is asleep. At night, even Chachimaru, Tomeo's cat, visits Tanjiro and is glad that he did not die. A week later, Tanjiro is back on his feet while Inosuke takes on a job and sets out. Meanwhile, Zenitsu is still out on a mission far away, trying to escape, while other court members say that it's like a non-stop racket. Tanjiro starts his rehabilitation training. While training, Tanjiro asks the triplets if his sword has arrived, as his second sword got chipped in the battle entertainment district. They inform him that no sword came, although he did get some letters from Mr. Haganazuka, his swordsmith. Mr. Haganazuka confessed his feelings and clearly got them to Tanjiro by saying that he has no sword for the likes of him. Among other things, he wrote that he will never forgive him, he hates him, and he will curse him. Kyo suggests Tanjiro to go to the village. Suma and Naho add that it might be better if he meets him directly, rather than writing to him. He gets the approval, and a Kakushi is appointed as his guide. The guide tells him to cover his eyes and ears. As Tanjiro has a good sense of smell, she sticks plugs in his nose as well. Moreover, Tanjiro will be carried on her back. As Swordsmith Village is a vital place to the course, they keep its location a secret to prevent demon attack. Even this lady carrying Tanjiro does not know the location, instead, she is following a crow. After a certain distance, Tanjiro gets passed on to another Kakushi. The routes and Kakushi change several times and even the crows switch too. Like us, Tanjiro is impressed of the smart people and their attention to detail. The guide takes off Tanjiro's blindfold as he has finally reached the Swordsmith Village. She tells him to meet the chief first and guides him on the way to his house. Tanjiro thanks Kakushi for bringing him here. The echoes of his gratitude reach a pretty lady in the hot springs. This pretty pink-haired lady is the love Hashira Mitsuru Kanroji. We see a visual of her getting out of water as the scene shifts back to Tanjiro. The chief of village introduces himself as the smallest and the most important man of the village. He goes by the name Tekken Kawahara. He shares that currently Hotaru Haganazuka, his swordsmith, is missing. Tanjiro finds the name very cute, and the chief tells him that he was the one who named him. However, Hotaru said it was too cute and blasted him. He tells Tanjiro that Hotaru has always been very emotional and it's his fault for forging a faulty sword that broke mid-fight. Once they find him, they will apprehend him and bring him back here, while the person at Chief's back imitates punching. Till they find him, the chief suggested Tanjiro to enjoy his stay here and visit the hot springs that are good at healing wounds. On his way to hot springs, Mitsuri runs to Tanjiro and complains about the rude guy who ignored her when she said hello to him above the stairs. Kawaii Mitsuri cries that all the good vibes from her bath have been cancelled out. However, Tanjiro knows just what would cheer her up. He tells her that dinner tonight is Matsutake rice, and she is overjoyed and runs away. At the spring, Tanjiro gets hit by a tooth. This tooth belongs to the guy in springs with mohawk hairstyle. Tanjiro had seen him before, and Sumi told him that he is the brother of Sanemi Shinazugawa, the Wind Hashira, Genya Shinazugawa. Upon hearing his name, Genya turns around and tells Tanjiro to die. Tanjiro tries to bond with him, but he leaves. Later that night, Tanjiro enjoys the delicious dinner with Mitsuri, who has a pile of empty bowls in front of her. Mitsuri shares that Sanemi told them that he has no siblings, so she suspects that they are on bad terms. Mitsuri tells him that she has 5 siblings, but they all are on good terms, while playing with Nezuko. Tanjiro asks why Genya is not here for dinner, and Mitsuri shares that she heard the villagers saying that he never takes meals. They decide to bring rice balls to him. As they are walking, Mitsuri shares that the sight of rice balls is making her hungry again. Tanjiro asks why she became a Hashira. Her face turns red, and she discloses that she wants to find the gentleman with whom she will be spending eternity. To find someone strong, she thought of Hashiras. To get in touch with a Hashira, she became one herself for easy access, as coming across Hashiras is very rare. Genya was not in the room while Kakushi informs Mitsuri that her sword is ready. Mitsuri tells Tanjiro that she will be leaving during the night, and they might not live to see each other again, but let's fight the good fight. She praises him for fighting an upper rank and surviving. She tells them that Mitsuri Kanroji is rooting for the Kamado siblings. Tanjiro responds that he will work hard to become strong enough to defeat Muzan. This makes Mitsuri and Kakushi skip a heartbeat. Before leaving, she tells him that there's a secret weapon in this village that will make him stronger, so try to look for it. The next morning, after having a delicious breakfast, Tanjiro sets out to find the weapon. In the forest, he sees the missed Hashira Muichiro Tokido, who is trying to take the key from a kid, whereas the kid refuses to hand it, saying that his ancestors made it and is precious to him. Tanjiro notices someone else behind the kid as well, a maroon-haired swordsman with the same earrings as Tanjiro. The second episode begins at the scene where the first episode ended. The boy's asking the Hashira to leave as he would not give him the key, nor would he let him use the doll. Tanjiro eavesdrops on them, although he finds it unethical to be listening in on others' conversation. However, he wants to make sure that they are not fighting. The missed Hashira Tokido has enough of the kid's protests, so he slaps him and then picks him up from the ground. Just then, Tanjiro intervenes and tells Tokido to let go of the boy. Tokido, who is bothered by how loud Tanjiro is, asks who he is. Tanjiro tells him to mind his actions, especially with the kid, while noticing that his grip has not even bulged him, even though his arms are thin, and he is smaller than Tanjiro. Tokido tells Tanjiro to let go off his hand and hits him with his elbow. Tanjiro falls on the ground, making Tokido taunt him that he is incredibly weak for someone who got into Demon Slayer Corpse. He then asks what is inside the box Tanjiro is carrying, as he senses something strange in it, like maybe a demon. As he moves his hand towards the box, Tanjiro slams it away, telling him to stay away from it. Meanwhile, the kid escapes from Tokido's grip and Tanjiro tries to calm him, but the kid tells Tanjiro to get away as he is not going to give the key to anyone, even if he is tortured by them, as the doll might break. Tokido tells him that even most adults cannot endure torture, let alone an untrained kid like him, so he must be really stupid to say that. Even if the doll breaks, the kid should be able to build it again. His childish behavior over such trivial matter may cause the deaths of many innocents, because that's what happens when people like him try to get in the way of Hashira's duties. Tokido adds that Hashira's time has completely different values, and he would understand that if he was not so stupid. Being a swordsmith, he cannot fight or save someone's life, but what they can do is make weapons, so he should hand over the key and not act like a baby again. Tanjiro gets angry at Tokido and faces difficulties in finding the right way to explain that he does not like him because of his lack of sympathy or courteousness, and he finds him really cruel. Tanjiro admits that everything Tokido said is correct, except that swordsmith's job is also vital, and they possess incredible skills too that are different from swordsmen. Meanwhile, another swordsmith is eavesdropping on them. Tanjiro adds that without their swords, swordsmen would not be able to do anything, so both swordsman and swordsmith need each other as they are both fighting the same battle. Before Tanjiro could go on, Tokido interrupts him, saying that he does not have time to stand here and listen to Tanjiro's boring speech, so he hits Tanjiro, making him fall on ground and losing consciousness. Just before opening his eyes, Tanjiro hears the kid talking to another person who is telling him not to worry as he will carry Tanjiro down the mountain. However, that man notices Tanjiro's eyelids moving, so before he wakes up, the man runs away. Tanjiro wakes up and asks right away if Mr. Haganazuka, his swordsmith, was here just now, but the kid lies that Tanjiro is mistaken. Tanjiro asks about Tokido, and the boy shares that he gave him the key and he left. Tanjiro gets sad that even though he intervened, a kid still had to give up the key, but the kid tells him not to worry, and that he is thankful to Tanjiro for standing up for him, even though they are total strangers. Tanjiro asks about the man standing behind him earlier, and the boy shares that it was a mechanical doll that Hashira took with him. Tokido needed the key to make the doll move. Tanjiro asks why Tokido wanted that doll, which is so important to the boy. He answers that it is a special doll that can perform a combination of 108 attacks, so it can help a lot in combat training. Just then, they hear the sound of swords clashing and they realize that it must be Toki fighting with the doll, so they follow the sound. Tanjiro is amazed to see that a doll can hold on its own against a Hashira. The kid shares that it was built by his ancestors, called Yoriki Type 0. Tanjiro asks why it has 6 arms, and the kid shares that this doll was modeled on an actual swordsman, and the moves of that swordsman could not be replicated unless the doll had 6 arms. Tanjiro tries to think where he has seen this face before and asks about the swordsman. However, the kid has no knowledge about him as he was from the Sengoku period, meaning that this doll is from 3 centuries ago. However, they have not been able to replicate this technology yet, so if the doll gets broken, it cannot be repaired. The kid shares that since his father passed away, all he has been doing is taking care of this doll as he does not possess the talent of forging swords. Tanjiro is impressed to see Tokido, who seems to be off the same age as him, being much stronger than him. Just then, they hear another voice saying that Tokido indeed is a prodigy. This voice is coming from Tokido's crow. Upon hearing that Tokido is a descendant of sun-breathing style, Tanjiro says that he is still using the mist style. The grove gets angry and bites on Tanjiro's cheek. Just then, he remembered that he had seen this face in his dream. The crow mocks him for seeing someone from 3 centuries ago. but the boy tells him that it might be an inherited memory from his ancestors. At this point, they exchange names. The boy's name is Kotetsu. Meanwhile, Tokido slashes the doll and its armor breaks. Kotetsu gets sad and runs away, but using his sense of smell, Tanjiro finds him hiding on a tree branch. Tanjiro motivates him by saying that if he works hard enough, he will be able to repair the doll someday. Tanjiro tells him to stick to his responsibilities and work hard for them, just like he is working hard so someday he gets strong enough to defeat Michael Jackson and save his sister. Tanjiro manages to convince Kotetsu, and as they are heading back, they run into Tokido, who has already defeated the doll and ripped off one for his arms for the sword as his sword got broken. Kotetsu runs towards the doll, while even though Tokido is rude, Tanjiro does not smell any menace from him, although that's not the case with the crow. Tanjiro tells Kotetsu to insert the key, and surprising, the doll is still working. Kotetsu gets happy and tells Tanjiro that he wants him to train with this doll so he could become stronger than that emotionless Hashira. The training begins right away with the doll's swords swapped with wooden logs. Even with one less arm, Tanjiro is unable to match the speed of the doll, but Kotetsu tells him to try harder, and once he gets stronger, he needs Tanjiro to tell mean things to Tokido, like ugly midget, kill yourself, shameless jerk, etc. The doll lands another hit on Tanjiro, so Kotetsu tells him that he is moving solely out of habit, so he needs to first analyze his opponent's moves. Tanjiro is impressed by Kotetsu's precise analysis. Kotetsu tells him that he would not let him stay a worthless swordsman like this, so he bans food and water for him until Tanjiro defeats the doll. After 5 days, Tanjiro still has not managed to launch an attack. Later that night, the rain came as a blessing, and at least Tanjiro could drink rainwater. The next day, the doll has been given back the real swords, and being driven to a corner by hunger, Tanjiro starts to lose consciousness. He hallucinates to be crossing Sansa River when he falls into the water, where he is massaged by warm hands. Inside the water, he smells a shiny stone at bottom, and when he picks up that stone, he comes back to his senses. However, Tanjiro feels a little different. He used to see opening threads during a fight, but now he is able to smell the incoming attacks and openings. Finally being able to land a hit after 6 days, Kotetsu treats Tanjiro with food and water. Back to the fight, Tanjiro is able to read the doll's moves using the scent as it appears before the opening thread. Just when Tanjiro is about to land a full blow at doll's neck, he hesitates for a moment, as this doll is very precious to Kotetsu, so he does not want to destroy it. Kotetsu, with his amazing analysis, realizes the hesitation and screams at Tanjiro to strike, as he longer cares if the doll is broken. He is going to fix it, no matter what. Kotetsu knows that Tanjiro is a kind soul, who would always try to find a way that least hurts the other person. However, he wants him to get stronger, even at the cost of his generational doll. Tanjiro slashes the doll's neck, and his sword breaks into 2. However, the doll's head starts to crumble into pieces too from the heavily impacted strike from Tanjiro. As the doll's head breaks, they see something strange inside the doll. Tanjiro and Kotetsu freak out, as they both had no idea something was inside it. Inside the doll is a 300-year-old sword. The doll's head crumbled, and Kotetsu and Tanjiro find a sword inside that must be over 300 years old. They are both freaked out, confused about what to do. Kotetsu tells Tanjiro that his old sword broke and he is here for a new sword, so if it's okay with him, he would like Tanjiro to accept this sword. Tanjiro, still overwhelmed, tries to decline using something that he does not own. Kotetsu insists that the steel used in the Sengoku period is the best quality ever, and this sword is only found because he came here, but Tanjiro denies, saying that it was pure luck and the sword is hidden because of its battle history. Kotetsu could clearly see how hard Tanjiro is trying not to accept what he so dearly desires, so he suggests taking the sword out to have a look, and Tanjiro is on board with it. They muster the courage to take the sword out of its sheath and go into depression immediately when they see that it's just a rusty old sword. Kotetsu apologizes for getting worked up over nothing, while Tanjiro says that he does not mind, while having tears in his eyes. Just then, they hear someone walking towards them, and it's Mr. Haganazuka, who tells them that he has heard their story and will take the sword from here. Tanjiro tries to snatch away the sword from his grip, saying that it does not belong to him, but Haganazuka replies that he will take it from here. Tanjiro tells him that he cannot just appear out of blue, but Haganazuka replies that he will take it from here. Tanjiro gets angry and yells that it belongs to Kotetsu, but Haganazuka replies that he will take it from here. Haganazuka throws away Kotetsu and Tanjiro, who were clinging to the sword, and tells them that he will take it from here. Just then, Kanamori appears and tells them that Haganazuka's weak spots are his sides. He starts tickling him. Kanamori shares that Haganazuka always goes limp for a while after being tickled. He apologizes to them on his behalf and tells Tanjiro that he has been hiding in the mountains, training to forge a sword strong enough so that Tanjiro does not get killed. Haganazuka has always been losing clients because most of them could not stand him because of his zero social skills, but Tanjiro keeps asking only him for the sword, and even though he would never admit, it makes him happy. Haganazuka is back to his senses, and he tells them that he shall take this rusty sword into his care to use his family's Nichiren sword polishing art to restore it. Kotetsu sighs, saying that he must have said so from the start instead of repeating, "I will take it from here," especially no one trusts him. Haganazuka is triggered and he picks up Kotetsu, but Kotetsu and Tanjiro use the tickle attack. Haganazuka gives Tanjiro another sword to use until he repairs this rusty sword. The next night at dinner, Tanjiro shares that it will take Haganazuka 3 days and 3 nights to polish the sword, so he will be done the day after tomorrow. The polishing art is brutal, and some people have even died while trying it, so he asks if he should go see him or not. Meanwhile, Genya is just pissed at Tanjiro, talking to him like a friend. He yells at Tanjiro to shut up, and Tanjiro gets sad over realizing that he does not think of him as a friend. He would never befriend someone who broke his arm, but Tanjiro tells him that it was his own fault for hitting a girl. Tanjiro notices that Genya does not have a missing tooth like the time at Hot Springs, and Genya tells him that he was mistaken then. To his surprise, Tanjiro still has that tooth as he wanted to return it to him. Realizing how creepy Tanjiro is, Genya throws him out of the room. Tanjiro talks to Nezuko about Genya while braiding her hair like her idol Ms. Kenroji. Whatever Tanjiro says, the sweet kawaii Nezuko nods along. Meanwhile, Kanamori finds a vase on the stairs on his way back from the hot spring. He noticed that the vase was not there when he was going up. He gets closer to the vase and is suddenly dragged inside and then thrown out like a squeezed lemon. Upper rank 5, Yako, comes out of the vase complaining about the bad taste of mountain swordsmith's flesh. However, he is still determined to destroy the whole village and kill the demon slayers present here, as it would make the demon slayer corpse weaker. On the roof of the lodge where Tanjiro is staying, we see upper rank 4, Hantengu. Thanks to Gyako, they were able to find this place. However, he is still worried about their lord, Michael Jackson, who is enraged with them. So they must end this quickly. The scene shifts to Genya, who enters the hut of his swordsmith, making sure no one is following him at this time of night. There is no one inside, however. He finds his sword on the table already, and he thinks to himself that even though his brother is against it, he has to do it. Tokido pinches Tanjiro's nose to wake him up and asks if he knows a man named Kanamori. Tanjiro wakes up with a shock at getting his nose pinched. Tokido tells him that his reaction was too slow, but Tanjiro shares that he would have sensed him entering if there had been any animosity. He tells him that he does know Kanamori, and his guess is that he might be with Haganazuka. Tokido shares that Kanamori is his new swordsmith and asks where Haganazuka might be. Tanjiro himself does not know, so he offers to search for them together. Tokido is confused, so he asks why Tanjiro cares a lot about other people, and isn't there something he needs to do for himself. Tanjiro tells him that whatever he does for others comes around to help him as well. Tokido is amazed at the answer he got. Just then, Nezuko wakes up, who seems very strange to Tokido. Suddenly, the door slides and the crying upper rank Hantengu enters. Tanjiro immediately realizes that a demon he did not notice and yet got so close must be an upper rank, so he tells Tokido to be careful as he charges with the 4th form of mist breathing style. Hantengu evades the attack, and Tanjiro and Nezuko attack him as well. Tanjiro tells Nezuko not to transform as she might go into full demon form again. Tokido charges at Hantengu again, who still has not attacked them, and beheads him. However, Tanjiro knows that upper ranks do not always die even if they are beheaded. Behold yourself to hear what happens next. Hantengu's head grows a body, and Hantengu's beheaded body grows a head, splitting one enemy into 2. Tanjiro decides to take the one in back as Tokido takes the one in front. However, the one first swiftly slashes the air with his leaf-like fan and sends everyone flying with an intense air blow. Nezuko holds onto the wall while holding Tanjiro in the other hand, but Tokido is thrown miles away. One who attacked Karaku tells the other one, Sekido, that the peanut sure went flying and he's enjoying it a lot. Sekido tells him that there is nothing fun about this and all he is feeling is rage. Similarly, he was enraged to be lumped with him as well, so Karaku tells him that he is glad that they got separated. While Tanjiro is still confused whether they both should be beheaded at once or what, Sekido hits his chakra on floor and releases blue and red electric waves that shock Tanjiro both figuratively and literally. As Tanjiro is about to pass out, he sees Genya on the roof holding a gun that has the same scent as a Nichiren's sword. Genya fires 2 bullets at Sekido and Karaku. The bullets go through Karaku's neck, beheading him right away while he misses the shot at Sekido, so he charges at him with his sword and beheads him as well. Tanjiro tries to stop Genya, saying that no matter how strong his weapon is, these demons cannot be defeated like this. If he slashes it, it is only going to split into many more demons. As it gets younger and stronger, it is letting them slash him on purpose. Tanjiro was too late, and he sees Genya surrounded by 3 demons now. Our boy is good at math, so he notices that there should be a fourth one as well who is missing. As he tries to look for it, the fourth one grabs Tanjiro's leg in his claw and flies away. Tanjiro tells Nezuko that he will be alright, and she should help Genya. However, just then, he sees Genya getting pierced by a sword from Eizetsu. All four demons have different powers. As the flying demon Roji is about to attack Tanjiro with a small Kamehameha from his mouth, Tanjiro uses Hinokami Kagura to slash his leg. Using the tree branches, Tanjiro manages to keep the fall impact minimum. Tanjiro's body is still numb from the fall, and he tries to get up. Roji grabs him again and starts to launch his Kamehameha again. The scene shifts to Tokido, who is rushing back to the lodge, and on his way, he sees Kotetsu being attacked by a demon. More like a demon spell, as it has a weaker presence than a demon. Tokido thinks to himself that Kotetsu is barely a swordsmith, so his life is not as important. His main priority right now should be saving the chief and others with greater skill. As he is rationalizing his thoughts as always, he remembers Tanjiro's helping others reply, so he saves Kotetsu from the demon and tells him to run away. The fourth episode begins with the injured mist Hashira Muchiro Tokido running in under the moonlight. While running, he sees Kotetsu trying to fight a giant fish demon. He is unable to effectively fight the demon, and the most he can do is dodge its attack, but it manages to grab a hold of him. Tokido, seeing this, rushes towards them to help him. He remembers that Tanjiro told him, whatever you do to help others comes around to help you as well. In the end, the demon has such a strong hold on Kotetsu that he is no longer able to hold his sword and drops it. At this moment, Tokido attacks with his sword and swiftly cuts off the demon's arm with a single strike, causing the demon to scream in pain and drop into the ground. Tokido's strong monsters. The insect Hashira Shinobu Kako's crow tells her to quickly go to the village as it's under attack, and she thinks how lucky it is that she was stationed so close to the village and rushes towards it, saying that she is going to give it her all.